So bibigay na po natin ngayon ng ang ating studio kay Joseph Rivera para sa kanyang eksklusibong interview sa mga natatanging kabataan diyan naman sa bansang Qatar. Ito'y sinasaluduhan po natin at sana ito ay maging inspirasyon sa ating mga kabataan na naririyan sa abroad. At biro mo, kahit saan bansa talaga kapag pinag-usapan ay mga Pilipino, talento, talino, ay nako, hindi magpapaiwan ng ating mga anak ng mga OFW. So Joseph, bahala ka na, pasok!
Yes, isang mapagpalang umaga po muli mula dito sa Doha, sa bansang Doha, Qatar at tayo po ngayon ay nabigyan ng pagkakataon upang makasama sa ating interview ngayong araw ang dalawang estudyante na sila po ay grade 12 students na nagmag-aaral ng Philippine School Doha kung saan sila po ay pumasa sa qualifiers, no? Sa qualifiers na ginanap recently sa Qatar University upang sila po ay makapagdebate sa prestigious na Oxford Union sa Oxford, UK sa susunod na taon. Ito po ay, by the way, ating mga kababayan, just take note, this is the very, very first time, no? First time for the state of Qatar to send delegates who will debate at the Oxford Union in the UK. First time po ito. At first time din po ng Philippine School Doha dahil sa unang pagkakataon ng Qatar ay Philippine School po ang kanilang ipapadala doon at ito po ang Philippine School Doha. At ito po ay pumapangalawa sa Ateneo de Manila Senior High School na kung saan sila rin po ay nag-qualify na mag-debate sa Oxford Union sa UK from 2023 to 2024. Okay, if our data is right. So I'd like to welcome on studio PSD students Timothy Jeremiah Rivera. Bakit kaya kaapelido ko itong batang to? And Nathiel Angelo Ruiz. So kids, probably you could, by the way, you can speak in English since you're going to be debating in English in Oxford. Might as well give us a sample of your British twang, no? We have clearance from the director. Kung kaya niyo po mag-Tagalog, very good. Pero kung gusto niyo po mag-English, mag-English po tayo. Probably, baka sabihin nila may nepo baby ako sa program na to. Let's start with Nathaniel. Nathaniel, would you like to greet our listeners from Qatar?
Good morning, everyone. Magandang umaga po sa lahat. I'm Nathaniel Ruiz po and it's a pleasure to be here po. Maraming salamat po sa pagpapa-interview sa amin at ikinagagalak po namin ang presensya namin dito po.
All right, good. How about you, Timothy?
Hello po, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Ako po si Timothy Rivera and it is my honor to be here in this interview po.
All right, good. So, children, okay, let's start muna with Nathaniel. Same question, but the two of you will answer each, okay? So, Nathan, can you tell us, from your own words, what was the experience that you had during the elimination rounds in Qatar?
Oh, parang pang pageant po ito.
Hindi.
Essentially po, it was very, I guess it was a very different experience because at least for the both of us, me and Tim, we've had very heavy migraines during that time, and it was really difficult trying to keep up, especially with our physical conditions at the time. But nonetheless, it was a wonderful experience, and we definitely persevered throughout the entire conferences. And what I also feel personally on my end, it was a fulfilling experience for me, considering that this is the first time that there were Filipinos there in general. And so because of that, we felt that it was an honor to represent the Philippines and more so PSD on that note.
Timothy?
And then as for me on the other hand po, I think it's the same answer as Nat kasi both me and Nat came to this tournament without any expectations, diba? Kasi for me that time, I was feeling sick, I had a heavy fever, I was having migraines, and then Nat was feeling nauseous. So within the debates, we were both like expecting that we weren't going to win anything, but somehow, we were both able to persevere and it kind of motivated us to keep on winning throughout the rounds because we were letting the adrenaline impact us or help us more throughout the debates. So it was really an honor being able to represent the school because we really had no expectation because all the odds were against us in this tournament. So being able to persevere through it all was such an experience, and we are definitely excited on being able to represent the school in the Oxford Union po.
Okay, now as you know, the Oxford Union is a very prestigious debating society. So, guys, can you tell me what were? Can you just give us an idea? What were the topics that were discussed, or what were the subjects that you debated on during the elimination rounds held at the Qatar University?
If I could answer that question po,
Yeah.
kasi here in Qatar debate po, especially when it comes to debates in Oxford Union, Qatar debate, most of the motions po, it's usually topics regarding, for example, like economics, economic trades, politics, international law, international organizations. So it it mainly plays a lot on the role of the current political events that's happening both internationally and here in Qatar. But the second thing po is that we also sometimes nagde-debate po kami sa mga usually mga moral valued or principle motions where they would give us a hypothetical scenario and then we just debate on the morality or values behind it, because that's what debate is usually about. Like from what me and Nat have experienced, we always debate about situations that happen in real life, events that are currently happening now internationally. Sometimes we debate about American politics, sometimes we debate about the politics that's currently happening in West and Central Africa. So it's very inclusive po naman, but it's more on the political and economic side of things.
Anything you
and
want to add to that, Nate?
Yeah, just to add up, essentially it's really important for us as debaters to really be up to date on current events and also just understand a lot of concepts and ideas, especially in philosophy or in economics and politics, because those really help and come in hand when you are debating on those topics. And if you weren't, say, uh, aware of the current events, you might not be able to really come up with a gist of your arguments and really stand out as a debater during the competition. And it was really a good thing for both me and Timothy, knowing that we, as humanities students, are aware of such things and we're able to apply those things. And so we're very grateful for that. And I'd say at least it's a very different kind of debating format when you compare it to Qatar and the UK as well as the Philippines, because for instance in the Philippines a lot of the debates are very tied to pop culture or things that are related to what would be hip with the youth. And so even though we are also prepared on that aspect, it's more so the fact that a lot of the things tackled in Oxford Union and also in Qatar debate are very focused and more nuanced in a political perspective.
Right. Now, the way with the information we have offhand, no, um, around 350 schools tried to compete to get into Oxford Union, and I believe 16 were from Qatar. And uh, given this leap that you boys are gonna have, can you share to our viewers sa Pilipinas, no? What are the preparations that you're doing? No, since I believe that this is 4 months down the road, no? Can you tell us um what preparations are you doing to make you fit or to better prepare you to step into the halls of the Oxford Union in the United Kingdom?
Uh,
Uh, okay, you can go first. Nat.
okay. So thank you for giving me the honor to do first. I'd say at the moment I'm killing two birds with one stone because I'm also preparing for my university applications, and part of that is taking an IELTS test because that's needed for your English proficiency, and since it's required, you have to prepare for it. And so my way of dealing with that is that each and every day I make sure to tackle my speaking, considering that it is a portion of the IELTS test. And the way I deal with that is I dedicate at least 10 minutes of the day or at least two times of that in each and every day, and ensuring that I can at least yap about any topic at hand and more so provide like substance to what I'm actually saying. And I think that's a very good way to deal with it. So if anyone listening has a need to actually find a way to improve their speaking, just use the IELTS test and try to like the portion of the IELTS test for speaking. It has a very good nuance when it comes to trying to prepare yourself for speaking.
And then, as for me po, first of all, I can't verify the data that has just been said po regarding about the amount of schools from Qatar coming to Oxford schools, since the only thing we know po about the tournament is that we were both given a slot to participate in the Oxford schools tournament. And as far as preparation goes po naman, because when it comes to debate, it's not just about like how you speak or the style of or your vocabulary or the diction you use when it comes to debating. It's more like the stock knowledge and the amount of things you know about the political world. Because it's very easy for us to make an argument, but it's like the proof that you have to bring with it. So usually what me and Nat do a lot, especially when it came to debating, was we read a lot of news, like especially when it comes to politics, economics, pop culture. Because para sa akin lang naman, that's like the best way how you prepare for the debate, which is to more or less know more about what's currently happening. And I guess that's not something that debaters should do. That's what we as Filipinos should be doing, or as citizens of the Philippines, we should be educating ourselves on what's happening currently, not just internationally, but also in our country as well. Not just for the purpose of debate, but for us to be aware of what's currently going on and what's being at stake. And that's what me and Nat are trying to do, because when it comes to debating in a prestigious school like Oxford, they mostly want us to debate on topics or issues that are currently critical at stake, whether it's politics, pop culture, religion. It's best that we prepare ourselves for everything that might be the topic of the debate, and that comes with educating ourselves about these topics.
Right. Now, since that this event is 4 months away, okay, from today, can you like tell me, boys, um, if there is like one topic, okay, one topic, ito ha, hindi to Miss Universe question, Nathaniel ha. If there is one topic that you're hoping to debate on in Oxford next year, what would that be and why? I'll start with you, Nate.
I guess considering the political climate at this time, I really want to speak about the politics that are ongoing in the US, considering that there's a very major OFW population there. And considering that some of them might be, undocumented migrants, it would be a very difficult situation for those individuals and more so the Filipino community. And speaking on that would be such an honor for me, especially on the platform and the scale of Oxford Union. And so if that were a topic in the Oxford schools, I'll make sure that I'm definitely prepared for such. Actually, I think I'm prepared for it, considering the amount of research built up on that. But nonetheless, I think that if it were to come up, I would ensure that we will win that debate.
And then as for me po naman, I'd say there's two things. Kasi Oxford Union, well, I've been watching a lot of debate videos dun sa Oxford Union. They mainly like to debate about religions and such. And it made me want to debate on about Orientalism, like how the West currently perceives the East. Because right now, there's like a lot of things that's going on sa mga issues ng politika na yon, which is that like a lot of people tend to use this as a way to discriminate the people in the Middle East as people who are barbaric and such. And those are topics I really want to debate about, since it's something that I've been trying to study and watch debates about. And then secondly, gusto ko talaga mag-debate sa mga issues nang nangyayari dun sa either sa Sudan or sa Palestine or Gaza. And I'd also love to debate about the issues that's currently going on in the Philippines, which is about the flood control projects, the senators, the Congress. And it's more or less like not just as a way for me to like, come here and say na, I know so much more about these topics, which is why I want to debate. It's more or less, it's something that I want to be educated more about. Kasi alam ko naman na everyone has different perspectives on these issues kasi iba yung mga experience nila dun. So it's like, I want to be able to have the chance to learn from these people through debate. Because debate isn't all about just proving your point on these topics because you know more than them. but it's also a way to like learn more and get a better grasp on those topics by hearing the perspective and experiences of other people as well through debating.
Oh,
Wow,
just to
excellent. Okay, go ahead,
would
Nick.
it be all right to add pa? So, just speaking about what Tim said on the Sudan and Israel-Palestine issue, I think that's also a very good topic that I would like to debate on as well, considering that since we are OFW Filipinos in the Middle East, we have a very nuanced perspective on what has happened. I mean, come on now, we experienced a bombing. So definitely, even though those things are very we have a nuanced perspective on the entire matter, and considering that also we are migrants, we have the experience, not only migrants but Filipinos, we have experienced colonialism and how important it is for our culture. And so when we observe this kind of annexation throughout our present time, it really gives us this understanding that hey, we know what's going on there. And so if we are able to speak on it even on a scale that is in Oxford schools, it would be a good opportunity for us to really see the perspectives of others and more so pervade the perspectives that we had. But nonetheless, I think it would also be difficult considering that we might not speak for what we stand for since it's a debate. We might speak as the opposition and say that, oh, I hate this kinds of entire idea about the entire issue, or say, I don't stand with this issue in the side that we are given. So considering that those aspects, I think it nonetheless would be a great opportunity to expand their perspectives and also let other people be aware of it.
Ganun pala yun. So, you cannot choose your side. So, correct me, boys, if I'm wrong. So, you're gonna be given a side and you have to defend it with your entire dignity even if you disagree with it personally. Tama ba?
Yes
Opo.
po, that's
Oh my
usually
goodness,
how it goes
napakahirap
po.
naman nun. O, di sa ganito na lang, no? Let's move a little bit past forward. As you know, the Oxford Union is, although it's known as one of the highest herald in debating, it has also been the speaking platform of some great leaders. Okay, so like from the Philippines, for example, you know, the great speakers who were invited to speak there and speak their minds out. Okay, were Manny Pacquiao, Megan Young, and the late President Fidel V. Ramos. Now, should you be given the opportunity to follow their footsteps? O ito ha, hindi ka na dito your choices will not be limited, hindi ka na mapipilitan, okay, on something that you might not agree to. If you will be given the opportunity to deliver an inspirational message or speech, okay, at the Oxford Union sometime in the future, what topic or what advocacy would you like to speak about? Let's start
Oh,
with you, Timothy.
I think first of all, for Mr. Joseph, I wouldn't necessarily like believe that I would be able to have give a speech as an Oxford Union as a representative of the Philippines, as a representative of the victims of the political issues or the political turmoil that's happening in the Philippines, since I believe that people like Fidel V. Ramos, people like Manny Pacquiao, they make a lot of great change and caused a huge impact of what's the identity of the Philippines, and I don't think I could ever reach to their footsteps. But if ever I was able to speak at the Oxford Union, I would particularly want to represent the OFWs here outside the Philippines because they are the ones who I can at least relate to more as a student studying abroad myself. Because if I were to specifically represent the whole Philippines itself, then I wouldn't be able to do them justice since right now I can't even speak Filipino as fluent as Nathaniel can. So as much as possible, I would particularly want to be able to give a speech about the struggles that OFWs go through. Kasi dito sa Qatar, there's like a lot of OFWs here that are currently struggling, facing domestic abuse, facing abuse from their employers. And because of that, there are so many OFWs that are struggling here in Qatar. They're stuck here and everyone's been just trying to help each other and finding a way out to get back home, because the only reason why all of us like studied abroad or worked abroad is all for the sake of a greener pasture, right? And I think that's something that a lot of people neglect kasi usually yung mga sinasabi ng mga tao ay they're studying abroad so that means they're rich, they're having a better life, they were able to escape the Philippines. But there's like a lot of things that are currently happening to OFWs abroad that not much people speak about because workplace abuse is very, very common against OFWs. Kaya nahihirapan tayo dito sa Middle East. And that's something I would gladly want to speak about, especially as a child of OFW parents and with relatives here in Qatar who are also currently facing those same struggles. And that's something that I would like to talk about in the Oxford Union, to talk about the preservation, the strength, because the only reason why we OFWs are we OF children of OFWs are able to persevere is because it's all about the strength, the unity, and the communication that we all have together as a Filipino community.
Wow.
Yes, but just to add up on what Tim said as well on the topic of the Filipino abuse here and the kafala system, it's really a difficult systemic abuse that is ongoing. And considering that we are in the Middle East, it's a bit conservative when it comes to having a speaking platform. It's not as democratic as the Philippines, and say that you can speak on any issue that you want on a wide platform and let people actually understand your perspectives or let them know about it, because a lot of the people here, no offense to them, pardon my French, but they may be ignorant and may not understand what we are going through as the Filipino population here in the Middle East, considering that we are part of the blue collar workforce as well as the professional workforce. We have a very big impact towards the entire area, and so considering the abuses that we may face, it would be a very worthwhile venture to actually speak on that. And I think I would like to broaden it further on my end, at least, that I would like to speak on the minorities. There are a lot of minorities that are, facing a lot of pressing issues these days, especially let's say women, children, the LGBTQ people, Black people, all people of color, and as well as Jewish people and our Muslim brothers and sisters. And considering that they face all of these issues at hand, it's a very difficult time right now. And even having at least a speck of dust to speak on them, it would be a very great venture for me to really speak on them and really showcase my perspectives on such. And even if it's not my perspective, at least I get to speak and show them the opposition and what they stand for against them, and see why it is so pivotal to really not stand with them, or at least stand with us in the entire debate itself, but not more so on a political philosophical perspective, if you get my gist. And yeah, I think that's the entirety of what I want to debate on.
Wow. No, grabe. Ang tatalino ng mga batang ito. Kanino kaya nagmana 'tong mga batang ito? Ano talaga din naman. But anyway, having said that, eto, pang-miss you na naman ito na tanong. But anyway, um, without facing the risk of our passports being canceled, I'd like to ask a tough question. Try to answer in Filipino if you could. Try. Okay, I said try. Okay. And without mentioning, okay, my next question is without mentioning names of politicians, okay, what is your opinion, okay, as children of OFWs, 12th graders, teenagers, okay, who've spent most of your lives abroad, what can you say or what is your opinion on the corruption issues that's happening now in our own country, the Philippines? I'd like to hear this from a Filipino teenager's point of view who is from Qatar. No names, ha? Baka makancel mga passport natin bukas. Mahirap na. No names. Who would
Alam
like
niyo
to go
po,
ahead?
sige, ako po mauna. Gusto ko po talaga mag-name drop sa mga, pero hindi ko sasabihin for the sake of, sa mga passport po namin. Pero before I move on po sa mga issues ng mga politika namin, medyo it's kind of really sad dito sa Qatar kasi ang daming estudyante sa school namin na wala silang talagang pake o alam sa mga politikang issues namin dun sa Pinas kasi they don't think that it matters as much to them. Kaya medyo it's really sad for us. So what I think about the political state dun sa Pinas, it's really, really sad kasi a lot of the people know what's going on. Like, it's not like na bobo tayo lahat, for the lack of a better word. It's more like we don't have a choice, 'di ba? Kasi we OFWs won't be able to share the same sentiment of the people who are working so hard to be able to provide for their families in the Philippines. And because these politicians give them a false hope na they're gonna help them, they end up it ends up like pushing them to vote for these politicians where in actuality wala silang ginagawa. They tell us, they give us these promises na they're going to do something about the floods, they're going to do something about our jobs, they're going to, do this, do that for us so that to help and unite the Filipino people. Pero the only thing we've seen in unity are the people against these politicians themselves. And it's just really sad to look at. I'm really sorry that I can't say this in Filipino because I want to be able to properly express that sentiment. Because right now, there are so many people who are fighting as we speak and are risking their lives to speak about the politics that's currently happening in the Philippines. And being here in Qatar gives me that freedom of expression and being able to freely speaking about it. Pero syempre, hindi ako pwede mag-name drop ng mga politicians here, of course. But at the same time, I really urge all the politicians who have the power to not submit to the corruption that's currently happening and instead actually fight for the people. Pero alam ko naman na it's harder to push that agenda considering that most people right now are currently just fighting over the position of, who's going to be president or VP. And I just hope that people will be able to open their eyes and see that these politicians aren't the people who they try to make people perceive them as.
Ayun nga
No
po,
speed ako
lubog na
dun,
lubog. Opo.
Okay, Nate, ikaw naman.
Opo, ayun nga po, lubog na lubog po talaga tayo sa katiwalian. Kaya napakahirap po talagang maintindihan yung mga nangyayari po sa Pilipinas. Pero yung mga kaklase ko naman po, I'd say na the, I mean, the general population of our school naman po, minsanan hindi po talaga nila binibigyang importansya o yung mga nangyayari po sa Pilipinas, considering na nandito po tayo sa Middle East na naninirahan po. Kaya gayon pa man, napaka mahalaga po na bigyang importansya yung mga isyung ito. At sa perspective ko naman po as an OFW population and expatriate population, malaki po yung ambag natin sa ekonomiya ng Pilipinas. If I remember correctly po, like there was 3.12 billion that in US dollars na binigyang contribution po natin as OFWs to the Philippines in terms of remittances and the GDP in itself. And considering that parang parang kumbaga po ginagamit po lang tayo, pero on that note, the platforms of politicians are usually anchored to the OFW populations to get their vote, kasi sino naman bobotohin natin as OFWs po, 'di ba? Like considering that a lot of OFWs are in precarious situations na hindi po nila matatakasan in a proper way. Minsanan po kinukuha po yung mga pasaporte nila, yung mga dokumento nila, kaya hindi po sila nakakalayas sa mga companies nila or sa mga amo nila, especially for the domestic workers that are here in in the Philippines, in the Middle East and other countries as well po. Kaya um napakamahalaga pong intindihin yung mga nangyayari po sa Pilipinas, and more so what the politicians are doing in terms of votership po. Kasi yung literacy po natin bilang mga mamboboto, kailangan po natin talagang bigyang halaga ito, kasi minsanan ma, mahuhulog na lang po tayo sa mga traps nila bilang mga mga politicians. And it's very important to really understand what they're speaking for, what they're actually doing to us in fine print, or the undertones of what they're doing po. And because of that, I think my general perspective is that yung mga nangyayari po sa Pilipinas talaga kailangan po natin bigyang halaga.
Alright, so there you hear it, mga kababayan nating mga OFW sa mga panig ng mundo. Talagang ito'y dalawang anak ng mga OFW and their base abroad. That's Timothy Jeremiah Jose Rivera and Nathaniel Angelo B. Ruiz. By the way, bago ko kayo pakawalang dalawa, okay? It's interesting to note also na hindi lang kayo ang mga Pilipinong pupunta sa Oxford from Qatar, no? I believe that there's another school that also qualified, although it's not a Filipino school. I believe it's known as the Beta Cambridge School. It's an international school in Qatar. And tama ba ito? Pilipino rin ang kanilang kandidato papunta doon. No? And I believe this is you're gonna be joined by Abby Catalan and Lauren Tancio. No, are these your friends, guys? Can you just briefly lang 30 seconds, no? What can you say about these the two other delegates who's gonna be debating there?
Actually, they're the team we lost 2 times to, by the way. Abby is a very long time friend of mine. He was my junior, my debate teammate. So I'm very happy at being able to debate with him, and his teammate Lauren, who I've gotten to know personally in the tournament as well. They're both Filipinos. They're both really cool people that I love to debate against and love to debate with, and I hope to see them in the Oxford Schools tournament.
Nate?
On my end naman po, they were also, I'd say, opponents that were on par with the way we debate off of itself. And so I'd say that they should watch out. 4 months is a long time to improve, and I think that they should really keep one eye open when they sleep.
Oh my God. Talaga. Oy, tandaan ninyo ha, you may be opposing teams, but you're both delegates from Qatar, you're both Filipinos. We wish you all the best on behalf of DWDD OFW1. You make the Philippines proud. Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, buong Pilipinas. There we give you Timothy Jeremiah Rivera and Nathaniel Angelo Ruiz from the Philippine School, Doha. Maraming salamat sa inyong dalawa. You can now go ahead and take your breakfast.
Maraming salamat
Okay, ladies
po.
and gentlemen.
Maraming
There you
salamat
go.
pa
We
rin.
have maraming salamat din. We have 2 students who were with us, and hopefully next week we get to interview Abby Catalan and Lauren Tancio magmula naman sa Beta Cambridge School. So ayan po mga kababayan, narinig niyo po ang dalawang napakatalinong mga estudyante, ano? Mula po sa Philippine School Doha na ating pong nakapanayam ngayong araw, at tayo po ay natutuwa dahil ang Pilipinas po talaga ay namamayagpag. Sana po mga anak, mga kiddos, galingan nyo po pagdating nyo po sa Oxford, UK. Ayan. Alam niyo po ba, sa trivia lang po, no? Sa Inglaterra po, sa London, alam niyo po ba, doon sa tinatawag nating Hyde Park, no? Or they call Hyde Park Corner, there's a speaker's corner there where anyone can talk about anything under the sun, no? And even though, regardless how slanderous or libelous they can be, they will not get charged, except that they cannot do 2 things. Okay? Dalawang bagay lang ang hindi nila pwedeng dalawang bagay lang ang hindi nila pwedeng sabihin. Number 1, they cannot insult the king, the monarch. And number 2, whatever they say, it should not incite a riot. Ayan. Alam niyo po, we have, 3 minutes. Kailangan natin mag-extra, no? Maraming salamat. Doc Chi, katropang Vince. Palibhas at 2 weekend ako nag-absent, talagang pinabawi niyo ako ngayong araw. Sa lahat po ng ating mga kababayan sa buong mundo, ako po ay nagpapaalala, maging mapagmasid po tayo sa mga nangyayari po sa Pilipinas, lalong-lalo na bukas, November 30, magkakaroon man po tayo ng isang malaking rally, I believe, dyan sa Pilipinas. So ang masasabi ko lang po sa inyo ay, please, stay safe, stay vigilant, okay? Stick to the topic, at kahit ano mangyari, manawagan kayo laban sa korupsyon, manawagan kayo para sa mga pagbabago sa mundo, pero hanggat maaari po, wag po tayong magbanggit ng anumang bagay na pwedeng makapagdulot ng destabilisasyon sa ating gobyerno. Tandaan po natin, at the end of the day, we are all Filipinos. Tayo po ay nagkakabuklod-buklod. Dapat tayong magsama-sama, pero higit sa lahat, sa tingin ko po, panahon na po para magbago. Sabi nga no, isa kong kapwa OFW sa Abu Dhabi na si katropang Eric Soto, no? Sinabi nga niya sa akin in one of our conversations, he told me very clearly, bakit dito sa ibang bansa, lalo na dito sa Middle East, no? Hindi po kilala dito yung mga ministro. Okay? Wala po nagbibida-bida dito, pero ang ganda po ng serbisyo publiko. Sana po dyan sa Pilipinas ay matutunan po natin, no, ang kultura ng tamang pamamalakad dahil para rin po sa ating kinabukasan nito. And I'd like to call this as a personal challenge not only to the executive branch but also to the Department of Education, no? Secretary Angara, if you're listening to me, sa tingin ko kailangan talagang ibalik natin ang GMRC, no, sa ating education system. Kaya talagang bigyan ito ng tutok kasi itong problema po natin sa corruption, in my opinion, is already a pandemic. Sakit na to eh. It's left and right. No? It's already beyond nakakahiya. I won't even go there and discuss about it. Pero sa totoo lang po, okay, ang mga bagay na to ay talagang kailangan natin pagbutihin kasi moralidad na po ito eh. Moral values na po ng Pilipino ang nagdudulot ng problemang ito. At sa tingin ko, kailangan po talaga na maayos po. Let's hit the root cause alongside the efforts of the government to alleviate poverty. I think we have to put moral values back into our education system para malaman nila na ang pagnanakaw, ang pagsasamantala, hindi lang ito kasalanan sa Diyos. Ito ay napakamaharas na krimen at hindi lang po ito makakasira sa buhay ng tao kundi pati sa mundo. Sa ngalan po ni Dr. Chiu Mandap at ni katropang Vince, ito po inyong katropang si Joseph Timothy Rivera na nag-uulat para sa OFW1 dito sa DWWD AFP Radio. Magkita-kita po muna tayong muli. Magkita-kita po tayong muli sa darating na Sabado, alas 4 ng hapon po dyan sa Pilipinas. Magandang hapon, mabuhay po ang kawal ng Pilipinas. Maraming salamat po.
Ito ang DWWD 1134 kHz AM. Balita, impormasyon at musika. Ito ang DWWD AFP Radio. Boses ng Kawal Pilipino.
Kayo ay nakatutok sa DWWD AFP Radio. Kami po ay kasapi ng KBP, Kapisanan ng mga Broadcaster ng Pilipinas.